Good evening, everyone. We are live, and you are welcome to another seminar by Graduate Professional GTPA. And tonight we have the Professional Wellness Reset, Building a Sustainable Work-Life System, this 2026. And I would just, before I even do all the house rules, I'll just ask this quick question. And I'll just start with just a simple question that goes that what is the purpose of success? If the very success we are chasing is slowly exhausting our health, our families, and our very peace of mind. And do you know that research has actually taught us that over 70% of professionals say that they are successful on paper, but in reality, they are overwhelmed. So that is the very key and reason why we are having this seminar today. And we are asking this very important question. How do we build a sustainable work-life system this 2026? Okay, so we know success. We want success that protects our health, that protects our finances, our careers, and leadership. But tonight, this program is being brought to you by Graduate Professional GTPA. And thank you for joining in. Please do let me know where you are joining us from. You can send comments in the chat under the comments in YouTube, and then I will read you out. So wherever you are joining us from, whether in the UK, Ghana, wherever you are joining us from, please do let me know, and I'll give you a shout out. All right then. So just a few house rules before we start. I know once we start, if you have any questions, please drop it in the chat, in the comment section, and then I will read it out. We have an amazing experts in store for you. They are all waiting backstage, and I'll be bringing them in one at a time. Okay. So maybe whilst we wait for a few people to also join in for this Professional Wellness Reset 2026, I will do my best and then also introduce who GTP is. So Graduate Professional, I know one will ask, who are we? So Graduate Professional, simply, we just empower, we want to, our motto is we want to empower young people to thrive in their professional life. And if you want to find us, we are on the website. You find us GTP Prof, and I'll be posting that in as we go along. But yes, it's a mentoring focused academy for graduates or individuals or professionals. We develop self-confidence, leadership, employability skills, and we focus a lot of our training in mentoring and career development. And that is why we have brought to you these great and amazing experts tonight. Our vision to raise great leaders for today and tomorrow. I'm not going to go in so much about what we do, but you can go on our website and then find more about what GTPA does. And like I said, I will be putting our information and how to connect with us tonight. So please drop a note, let us know where you are joining us from tonight. Okay, and I will be your moderator for tonight. My name is Osei Adjepong. Okay. So tonight we have experts joining us who represent the 4 pillars of sustainable professional life. And number 1, that is wellness, our financial protection, professional development, and leadership and purpose. But before we begin, I want to make this very interactive. So please, all your questions, don't worry, I will note every one of them and I will read it out to our experts here. Okay, but let me ask this question. If your life continues exactly as it is today, in the next 5 years, would you be happy? And that's something that I want you to pause and think about. Just think about it for a moment. I know that I had a lot of questions to answer for myself. Okay. But I'm going to introduce our first expert tonight. And I'll just be bringing, whilst I talk about who she is. So our first expert, she focuses on physical, emotional, and lifestyle well-being for professionals. And her name is Mrs. Claudia Banning. So as we kick this off, so this is someone who truly understands the power of balance in today's fast-paced world. Mrs. Claudia Banning is an accomplished engineering professional who brings precision, innovation, and analytical brilliance into everything she does. But what makes her stand out is her passion beyond engineering. She's deeply committed to health and wellness. She believes that peak professional performance starts with personal well-being, especially in this AI-driven era where demands are constantly evolving. Her approach is practical, holistic, and empowering, helping individuals move beyond just getting by to truly thriving. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Claudia Banning. And what I will do is I will just let her give a brief introduction, or maybe it might be a good thing. Let me just introduce everyone. I'll bring them one at a time, and then I'll let her do her introduction. But yes, you're welcome, Claudia. You are on mute if you are talking. Okay. Okay, so our next expert is Mrs. Jane Derx. We have a powerhouse who is transforming an entire industry with innovation and forward-thinking leadership. Mrs. Jane Derx is an accomplished insurance specialist and the general manager of First Anchor Ghana. She's not just working in the industry, she's redefining it. Through the use of AI, automation, and data-driven strategies, she is reshaping how insurance works. From risk management to customer experience, her leadership is driving efficiency, innovation, and real impact. She's a strong advocate for embracing technology as a tool for excellence and growth. Let's welcome Mrs. Jane Derx. Let me just bring her on stage. Okay, so you're welcome, Jane.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the next expert that I will be bringing on is Dr. Douglas Adjepong. And this is me introducing a visionary leader whose work is shaping minds, systems, and futures. Dr. Adjepong is the founder of GTPA and a renowned leadership and governance expert. He is also an accomplished author with over 10 books focused on mindset, leadership, and personal transformation. His work spans across academia, organizations, and youth development, equipping people to rise and lead and think differently. In this era of AI and rapid change, he champions adaptability, ethical leadership, and the growth mindset as the keys to lasting success. So this is me bringing on stage Dr. Douglas Adjepong.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. You're welcome. And last but not the least, we always say we save the best for the last, right? So we have Dr. Kofi Osei Kusi. We welcome a truly transformational leader whose impact spans across nations, generations, and industries. Dr. Kofi Osei Kusi is an award-winning senior leader, philanthropist, social entrepreneur, and global voice in leadership and personal development. With over 25 years of experience, his influence cuts across corporate education and nonprofit spaces. Recognized as one of Africa's most impactful and influential change makers, he has dedicated his life to empowering people and building institutions that last. As president of Pan African Leadership Institute, that's PALI, which I am actually a student and a part of because I got my personal MBA with his institution, his work has reached leaders in over 45 countries worldwide. He is also a published author of 18 books, a TV host, and a passionate advocate for unlocking human potential, especially in young people. Dr. Osei Kusi doesn't just speak about transformation, he lives it and inspires it. Please join me to welcome Dr. Osei Kusi on as well. You are welcome, Dr.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're all welcome. I think now I have all my panelists here. So if you are just joining, we have our experts here tonight. And I've already said that let me know where you are joining us from. Just send a message in the link from where you are watching on the YouTube. And then I'll give you a shout out. I know many of you are watching from different countries and I'd love to know. But yes, tonight you are welcome to the Professional Wellness Reset. How do we build a sustainable work-life balance really this 2026? So I know I'm going to give 5 minutes 5 minutes for each of the panelists to really introduce themselves before we actually delve into our discussions and our so I'm just going to start off with we say ladies first, right? So if you don't mind, I'm just going to mute everyone and I'll just let Mrs. Claudia Banning introduce herself. So Claudia, you have your 5 minutes to really tell us.
Thank you. I'm gonna see if I can put up my slide here.
Okay. So I'm just going to go backstage while
Can you see the slide or not yet?
Not yet. Or let me add it for you. Yes, it's on.
Okay, there it is. All right, thank you. All right, wow. Well, thank you, Butchua, for a lovely introduction. I am grateful to God and to GTP Professional Academy for the opportunity to have me here to share my knowledge and my experience. And I pray that you are blessed with the information that I've prepared to share with you today. I want to start with to take a moment to, I like to say, humanize myself and provide a little bit more background as to how I got here. First, I am God's child, and it's only through His grace that I am where I am. I am a wife, and I am a mother of 4. Now, in my achievements, I received my bachelor's in science with an emphasis of civil engineering here in the States, and I worked for a land development firm for about 2 years, and then with the economic crash, the company shut down. So that was a little bit of a turn. And I think it's important for me to share a little bit here because some of you might be in the beginning of your careers as well. Things are going to happen. So I just like to share that experience. During that time, I went back to school and I graduated with a master's in business administration. And then shortly after that, I was hired with Schneider Electric, of which I worked there for 13 and a half years. Now, one of the things that I really liked about this company, Schneider Electric, was that they took health and wellness very seriously, and they had a lot of initiatives, of which I learned a lot working for this company. Now, during my tenure here, I wore many hats. This is where I was able to increase my skills when it comes to operations management and project management. And currently, I am pursuing entrepreneurship as well in my own bookkeeping business. During that time that I was working with Schneider Electric, as I mentioned, I learned a couple of things when it comes to health and wellness. But I really developed that passion. And a coworker of mine introduced me to the company called Young Living, of where I started even more exploring, health and wellness, and started a journey as a wellness coach. And I was already naturally minded from a very young age, just because I had a very bad experience with medication as a teenager. During that time, I had to drop out of school, and I lost a whole semester during my high school years. And again, during that time, that was really the beginning of my naturally minded world, as I became fearful of medication and what effects it could have on me. So then, of course, I became a mother, and that was the fuel that propelled me to go more of the natural route and dig a little deeper. I became very passionate again about finding ways to go around the need for medication whenever possible. And I am very, very proud to say that for the past 7 years, maybe more, neither my kids or myself have had to visit the doctor or take any prescribed medication or even over-the-counter medication for any ailment. Now, that doesn't mean we don't get sick. We do, but we treat it naturally, or I treat everything naturally, and we recover much faster than with medication. And all of this is really due to some choices and decisions that I made for myself and my family. And that is basically doing more home-cooked meals, so opting out of going out a lot, no sugary drinks, no sodas, juice, carbonated drinks, that sort of thing. Now, I do make, like pineapple and ginger, watermelon and peppermint. I have a small garden in my backyard. And another thing I'm very proud of, I grow some herbs, tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, etc. And I use those for my cooking, and like I said, to make some natural juices. I learned to read labels. Some things that we consume, whether it's in drinks or in packaged foods, is like high fructose corn syrup, common preservatives found in processed meats, and things like that. So learning how to read your labels is very important. Another choice was taking vitamins to help strengthen the immune system and minimize or eliminate processed foods or carbs. And then also using preventative measures during times like the flu season, during travel, and when you're surrounded by others that are ill. Now, what does this all mean to you guys, the professionals? Basically, it means for you, how you benefit is less missed days from work and more productivity, better focus, a sharper mind. We all know that when we don't feel well, it's really hard to focus. So you being able to feel good and be healthy helps you to focus, have a sharper mind, make better decisions, and you'll be able to manage stress a lot better and be alert. And it's not just about, as Butchwa mentioned earlier, it's not just about your professional life, but also your personal life, because a lot of times we want to do more after we get out of work, but sometimes we don't have the energy to do so. So again, it's very important to be able to know how to care for your body physically, mentally, and in all areas, so that you can perform good professionally, but also have the energy to do things in your personal level or your personal life. So all of this enhances, again, both. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to share with you some practical strategies for balancing work, life, and health. So I'm excited to get started. Thank you, Butchwa.
Much. Thank you so much, Claudia. That is very insightful to actually know your journey of being healthy And I'm sure as we go along, we are all going to learn a lot. So if you just joined in, this is the Professional Wellness Reset Building Sustainable Work-Life System. And Claudia has just introduced us into her journey. And I think next I'm going to bring on Jane, who will also share a little bit about who she is. I'm going to take Claudia, I'm just going to put you on backstage. And if Jane is ready, I will bring her on. But please do let us know where you are joining us from, where you are watching us from. I see many people in, but I don't know where they are. We have you from. So, Jane, are you ready?
Yes. Hi.
Okay, so this is Mrs. Jane Derx. So I'll just leave you to do your introduction, and then I know you have a short slide, just giving everyone about 5 minutes just to do a quick intro. I'll bring that online now, and then yes, you can take the stage now.
Okay, thank you once again for inviting me on here, Graduate Tennis Professional. It's always a privilege to be invited by your platform to speak on what I love best and what I've been doing and practicing for the past 10 years. So today, I'll just delve in. Basically, I'm an insurance broker. I started as a graphic designer, worked into, I did a lot about advertising. And then I started going into the financial world where I was exposed to working in this industry that I find myself in. I know most of the times people, whenever they hear about insurance, they're always running away and feeling that, oh, they're just coming to take my money. But I hope by the end of my presentation, at least that mindset would be changed and you would all be convinced that insurance is not just a product. I mean, it's something that every household should just appreciate and see how that can financially benefit you and your business and everything at home. So my first slide, I think, what are you going to control that, or I will control from my end? So why would you do insurance? Why does insurance matter? In an
Prompt
unpredictable
me
world,
to move along.
yes.
Prompt me if you want me to move along for you.
Yes, so I'm on the second slide.
Okay.
Why insurance matters. In the world that we live in, of course, insurance offers a crucial safety net, protecting you and your loved ones from financial hardship due to the unforeseen events such as accidents and natural disasters. I mean, disasters and accidents are things you cannot predict. They're things that are just, I mean, out of the blue, it just happens. And I mean, one way or the other, you need to figure out how to solve or resolve some of these issues. When we talk about some of the products with regards to insurance, we have the medical insurance, we have the property insurance, we have assets in terms of motor, housing, bonds, and many others. But I'll just limit myself to these four key areas that I believe are the major things that when people are looking out for insurance, they're the most important things that you would focus on, and which is the medical insurance. For medical insurance, as we all know, helps to cover your medical expenses, ensuring you to have access to quality health care without a financial strain, allowing you to focus on your recovery and your well-being. And then under the medical insurance, for medical insurance, we have illnesses that are covered under these medical insurances. So, for example, in Ghana here, sorry if I'm going to be biased about Ghana because I live here and I've been working here. So I would use more of my examples will come from the Ghanaian market. So for medical insurance, sometimes people mix the medical insurance with life insurance. But when you purchase a medical cover, you're saying that should something happen to you, you don't need to now think about going to your bank or going to get some money or a loan or something. Perhaps you be at work and then you be called by a school teacher that your daughter is ill. I mean, once you have that medical card, you know that you can walk into any clinic and then seek for any medical assistance without the financial burden of, oh my God, where am I going to get money to pay for this bill, for this surgery? So some of these things, sometimes I know people would always look at the cost of the insurance they're paying, but ask yourself, should an accident happen and then you have to do a surgery, will you be able to cough out $100,000, or would you be happy that you pay just $100 annually and knowing that you can walk into any clinic, any pharmacy, any lab to get any medical attention? When we talk about property insurance safeguards your home and belongings, offering protection against damage or loss caused by fire, theft, natural disasters, ensuring vital recovery when it matters most. Motor insurance is a very common cover in Ghana here because it's a mandatory thing. But sometimes I would say that, would you just buy a third party insurance just because if you don't have the insurance and you're driving, a policeman is going to stop you to ask you, why isn't your insurance renewed, or why don't you have an insurance cover? But I want you to take your mind off just purchasing insurance because it's a legal right, but look at it as a financial security for you, knowing that if your car gets into an accident or if you mistakenly crash into someone's vehicle, you know that your insurance is going to cover for such damages. I mean, you can be wealthy enough to say that, oh, I mean, when it happens, I can always pay for it. But would you want to always be going into your savings or your salary just to spend on damages or to fix a property that was damaged? I don't think that would be something that would be exciting to be doing when these instances do occur. When we talk about life insurance provides crucial financial support to your family, ensuring your continued well-being and stability in the event of an untimely passing, protecting your future. In Ghana now, I would say that most people, whenever they hear about life insurance, they feel like you are pushing them towards their death. And so when a life planner comes to you to sell a funeral policy, you go like, but I'm not going to die now. But the hint is, the earlier you purchase these policies, that is when it's cheaper to purchase at a younger age than to purchase it when you're older. Because what happens is, in insurance, the older you are, we see you as a higher risk. So something that you probably could have paid 50 cedis, $10, £10, now you're thinking about getting a cover for your parents who are probably 70 plus. And now they give you a bill of 500 cedis a month. And then you be asking yourself, that is expensive. But at the end of the day, if something happens to them and then you have to organize these funeral burials, I mean, what are you going to do? Would you have preferred to have saved that 500 cedis and paid that every month, knowing that if the unforeseen happens, you can actually give your parents a befitting burial? And then sometimes we have products like education insurance. For kids, I mean, parents, I would always advise that as your children are growing, it's more like an investment plan, because some of these insurance packages that you purchase, after 10, 15 years, maybe if your child is 18, you can always go back to the insurance company and say that, okay, I've been paying insurance for the past 10 years, and perhaps my daughter or son is going to university, and I want to take that investment towards their education or towards their masters, or a trip, an educational trip or an exchange program. So these are some of the benefits you can actually get when you purchase such products. And I mean, this is just going to give you that peace of mind, knowing that the academia or the academic journey is being funded without you thinking about how to raise funds for situations like that. Insurance helps you to manage risk and build a stable financial future, protecting your assets and providing peace of mind in uncertain times. Like I said, insurance is not just a product, it's a promise. It's a promise that should something happen, the premiums you've paid is what is going to indemnify you for whatever risk or whatever unforeseen accident should occur. In Ghana here, shockingly, 75% of Ghanaians, approximately 25 million people, are uninsured, leaving them vulnerable to financial shocks. And this gap highlights the urgency, or why I think speaking on a subject like this should be very important to every individual and every professional. And to the young ones coming up who are listening out there, don't wait and say that, oh, I'm too young to purchase a medication plan. I'm too young to purchase a life insurance. I'm too young to get a health insurance for my family or for myself. So we want to bridge that gap. We want to let people know that it's about time we all come together, because insurance, again, is a pool. The premiums you're paying, maybe you have been paying for the past 10, 15 years, nothing has happened. And so you feel like you're throwing in free money. But hey, just believe that your money is not going away. Your money is an investment. And when that issue or when that unforeseen accident or disaster occurs, you're not going to be bankrupt by spending on medical care. Your business is not going to be stalled, but then you're going to have the cushion of your insurance coverage protecting you. So I would end here with this little quote, that choosing insurance is like picking a parachute. Better to have it and not to need it than to need it and not to have it. So thank you for choosing insurance. And I believe that as we continue to speak more, I would answer whatever relevant questions you have for me on the platform. Thank you once again. And thank you, GTP, for putting
Thank
me.
you so much, Jane. Tonight is not just about a webinar. It's a reset conversation. We are redesigning our lives intentionally. And that is why we have these experts here tonight. Thank you, Mrs. Jane Derx. So if you just joined in, this is the Professional Wellness Reset, Building Sustainable Work-Life System 2026. And we've had two of our amazing experts that have given us a short introduction. I'm just going to bring on Dr. Kofi, and then I'll bring all the panelists on. Please do let us know where you're joining from. I've seen so many of you. I have people from France, US, Accra. I don't have the names, so I can't really give you a good shout out. I don't want to guess it. I have IKEA. Let me not mention the names. But thank you for joining in. We do appreciate your time. If you have any question, please drop it in the comments, and I'll do well to ask any question that you drop in. So yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Jane Derx. So Dr. Kofi, I'm just going to bring you back on here. If you have anything to share as an introduction or just as a brief advice, anything that you want to share before we all come on, we will be really happy.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. AC. Thank you so much to Dr. Douglas as well. And congratulations on the great work you're doing with GTA. I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm not just here to share maybe one or two thoughts. I'm here to learn as well. Every day is a learning experience. And with the amazing speakers that you have tonight, I'm excited to learn from different perspectives, from insurance and health and wellness and leadership as well. And so just a little brief something about my own journey. I had a terrible experience about 15 years ago. I had a near-death experience. I was caught up in an accident that could have ended my life. And it wasn't the first time, but this particular one did really shake me up and got me to rethink my life and think what my purpose and what my mission in life is supposed to be. At that time, I was working for the Australian High Commission. And prior to that, I had been through a very interesting career. I'd worked with Deloitte, the accounting firm in Ghana. I had worked with Sight Savers International, which is a British international nonprofit. I had worked with the Australian High Commission. I had run a consulting firm and so on. And then also prior to that, I had from a young age of about 18 been leading a youth leadership institution or organization called Chosen Generation. And we have been bringing young people, hundreds of young people together for many, many years, you know, through leadership programs. So that's something that I've done for many years. However, this accident really got me to rethink my life and see what do I want to do with the rest of my life. Of course, I also have an interesting upbringing. I grew up in a small town in Ghana, but a small but amazing town in Ghana. It was a small town. My father was a general manager for a timber company, a large timber company, but a timber company that had workers from all over the world, or for many parts of the world. And so in my small neighborhood, in this very small town, I had neighbors next to us who were Germans. I had neighbors across who were Canadians, who were Irish, who were Swiss, and Ghanaians as well. And so I grew up in a very multicultural environment that also sort of built my interest in cross-cultural intelligence and living in a world where different people sort of work together and live together in a peaceful and a very harmonious way. So back to the accident. Right after the accident, or shortly after that, I quit my work with the Australian High Commission to pursue my mission in life, which is to activate leaders, ignite leaders, and awaken leaders. And that exciting journey, you know, first led me to, together with my wife, to establish a foundation called the Osei Kusi Foundation, which we use to invest in young people. We use to sponsor young people through school, from primary through university, and which we use to support people in the prisons and in rural communities. And then in 2020, this foundation eventually helped to co-found the Pan-African Leadership Institute, which is all about developing holistic, entrepreneurial, and conscientious leaders, leaders who truly serve and maximize the potentials of people in order for us to have a more peaceful, prosperous, and progressive world. We all know that leadership is the greatest need of the world. The greatest need of the world is not money, it's not gold, it's not oil. The greatest need is leaders. Leaders. The problems in the world are created by leaders, and so are the solutions in the world. So I'm excited that we do have an institution that is helping to develop the kind of leaders that we want to see in the world. So tonight I'm here to listen more than speak, learn from the amazing speakers here and even from the audience, and hopefully we take away some nuggets that will improve our career and our journeys in life. So thank you for having me. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kofi Osei Kusi. We do appreciate you. I've seen many of you on here. People are appreciating and clapping. Dr. Kofi, excited to see you. So yes, thank you for coming in, and thank you for that introduction. Yes, the problems in this world really are caused by leaders, and our greatest need is leadership. So yes, like I said, tonight, this is not just a webinar. This is a reset conversation. So I asked the question when we started that if your life continues exactly as it is today for the next 5 years, would you be happy with where it leads you? Think about it as I bring all the panelists on, and then we can start this conversation. So drop in all your questions if you have. I'm bringing Jane on, I'm bringing Claudia, and I am bringing on our founder, Dr. Douglas, as well. So we have all the panelists here, and I know it was, and I've done all the introductions, so I'm not going to go over again. I know, Doctor, today we are talking about building sustainable work-life system, and many times, I think I just want us to start with, what does sustainable professional growth actually mean? And I'll start off with Dr. Kofi. What does sustainable professional growth actually mean?
Well, thank you very much. Very great question. Well, I think the words are fairly self-explanatory in terms of growth, in terms of, but I think sustainable professional growth. It's basically ensuring that you are not losing as you're growing. Life can sometimes be one step forward, two steps back. But I think we're talking about really gradually, progressively moving forward consistently, which requires a certain level of strategy, a certain level of wisdom, a certain level of tactfulness. Um, but the reality of life is that many people go on and off, and many people go in circles for a long time before they figure out the right path of their career. But ideally, one must discover their purpose, one must work in the space of their talent and their passion, and one must continuously grow in order to have what we are describing today as the sustainable professional growth. So that's basically what I would say about that.
Thank you so much. So basically, we need to be moving forward. We need to be tactful. We need to have wisdom. We need to really have a strategy in growing. Thank you. You know what? I have someone has just asked a question here, and I'll just show you. It says that and since it's coming from the audience, I'm not going to ignore it. It says that what makes one a leader? What makes one a leader? And anyone, okay, Dr. Douglas said he will want to take this question. Okay, you are on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to add a little bit to what Pastor Dr. Kofi said, and of course, answer the question one of the audience asked. What habits sustain leaders for decades? Basically, continuous learning, discipline, thinking, emotional intelligence. That's a big one. And self-reflection. I think great leaders these days, or over the past many, many years, great leaders have evolved deliberately. They don't lead on autopilot. What do I be my autopilot? It's not going to be done for you just because you think you're a leader. It's not going to be done for you just because you want to sustain something. You have to be deliberate. And I think that is what I want to add to what Dr. Kofi said earlier. Can you please repeat what the person is asking for us to answer?
So I have it here. It says that what makes one a leader?
Yeah, so what makes one a leader? There are leaders and there are managers. A good leader do the right things. Managers do things right, but leaders always are not autopilot people. They are not just driven by policies. They think they are visionary, so they envision. They think of what is going to happen. How can I solve this problem? They are problem thinkers and also problem solvers. Simply put, so a good leader is someone who intentionally sustain that continuous learning, being disciplined, thinking about what will happen in the next few years or in the next few decades, and also thinking of other generations, how to pass on the baton. Most people don't think like that. Most leaders don't think like that. And those who don't think that, they are not. It's not because they don't carry the title leadership, but they carry something what we call, it's like is imposed on them or is given to them. So it's like they're just the authority or just the position. But I believe that true leaders must be intentional, must be deliberate in making sure that anything they do is sustained over time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please do chip in if you want to add to or contribute to any question that I ask. So it's not always to one particular expert. Sometimes it's good to have different perspectives so that it can break it down for our audience. But thank you, Dr. Douglas. I know that especially with, these days, we say that a lot of people have their side hustles. We are all trying. Our salaries are not enough. You need to be doing multiple things to really meet your need with your family, with your lifestyle. So many of us, we don't have one jobs. But the question that I have here, and it's coming to you, Claudia, is many professionals are successful in their careers but struggling personally. What are the first warning signs of burnout people ignore? Especially those of us that are juggling many things. What are the first signs of burnout?
Yes, this is a really good question. And one thing I'd like to express is that, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it in personally and people that surround me. But it's one of the first signs is definitely extreme exhaustion, and that can be linked to the lack of nutrition. When you don't support your body with what it needs, change in mood or motivation. Suddenly, you're losing motivation for the things that for what you are doing. Change in sleeping or eating patterns again. Stress and poor nutrition can elevate the cortisol levels, which are your stress hormone that regulate your metabolism, your sleep, your focus. It manages your immune system and controls your blood pressure. So as you can see, when you have high stress and you couple that with poor nutrition, then your cortisol levels are unbalanced and it can cause a lot of problems. So that extreme exhaustion and the change in motivation and sleeping patterns differ. And then the last sign that I like to also highlight here is then illness. And I see that very frequently in my husband. As those of you that know him, I like to say he's like the little energizing bunny, because he's always on the go. And you get to the point where your body kind of just shuts down. And for him, it comes in a form of a cold or a headache or just body fatigue. And that's the body telling you it's time to rest. So those are definitely the key signs that burnout. The people think it's normal. Oh, I just got some virus or something going on, but really your body is exhausted, it's tired, and it's time to give it good nutrition, give it some rest, things like that that you should not ignore. Thank you.
No, that's very, very key. It's true. So that means that if you are getting a lot of colds and headaches and you are still on the go, this is a sign that you should stop, reset, and start look after yourself. I think that's the bottom line in what you are saying. Look after yourself, because what is the point of chasing success when it is impacting your health, your family, and your peace of mind? We don't want to die
when your body shuts down. There's not much you can do. There's not much you can do. You just have to give it, like you said, reset it, give it some rest, give some good nutrition, and then you can keep going.
Exactly. And that's the purpose of this conversation today, that we want to reset ourselves. We want to redesign our lives this 2026. I know everyone here is a high performer. Everybody, I know, Dr. Kofi, you do so many things. So many things. Let me just put you on the spot. What do you do to really keep it balanced professionally? Because I know you're all over the world all the time. You are everywhere. And with your institution, I see you in different countries, online, everywhere. How do you give us a practical way that you balance it all?
Interesting question. It's a tough one, actually. It's a tough one. I was listening very carefully to what Claudia was sharing. I think part of what she was saying, she was describing me. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Sometimes you're trying to eat your cake and have it at the same time. But at the same time, we must be very cautious of the warning signs. Unfortunately, let me face it, unfortunately, a lot of people are dying young. The data on heart attacks is escalating, is really going down, down, down in terms of the ages. It used to be very old people. Now it's coming down to much younger people because people are super duper stressed. I think the first thing for me is that I'm pretty blessed to not be working. I like what a wise Chinese man said. He said that when you find, I'm paraphrasing what he said, I can't remember exactly, but it's basically when you find your purpose in life and when you're doing what you love to do, you never work a day in your life. So I don't wake up going to work. I just wake up having fun. I'm just, like I said in my earlier story, leadership development and working with people and philanthropy and all of that have been things I've been doing since I was 18 years. So when I quit from the corporate and I stepped into this, it's more of a hobby. I'm doing what I was born to do. I love what I'm doing. It's a hobby. Nobody really needs to push me to do it. So first of all, I enjoy what I do, but I do well to take breaks. I love water, so I like to swim. I like the woods. And then I keep a garden. I love plants. And so I talk to my plants as often as I can, sometimes in the morning and sometimes in the evening. So I go and say good morning, to the flowers and good morning to the trees. And I speak with my guava tree and I try to hack some of the trees and I keep some pets, a few pets. I have some doves at home. And before this class, I went to the doves. I'm like, hello, hi guys, how are you? I think when I get close to nature, it sort of relaxes me. So whilst I'm not always, on some big vacation, just getting close to trees and water and nature sort of re-energizes me. And then sometimes you just have to lock up yourself, turn off your phone and sleep. Sometimes the biggest problem is the phone. I have to say that. Sometimes the biggest problem is the phone, is just trying to direct our lives. And so I'm trying to be a rebel. It doesn't always work, but I'm trying my best.
Wow. You are really describing my mom. She's a florist, and we used to think it's not normal to be talking to your plants. We think she loves her plants more than her children.
I have the same
They
problem
give
at
her
home.
peace.
Yes, the children fight with me. I'll wrap up. The children fight with me because I tell them these plants are my children, and they argue with me. They are not your children. I said they are my children, and so sometimes they take a little stick and go and hit the flowers that I'm beating your children. I'm like, stop beating my children.
I think I'm going to tell my mom that she has a friend who thinks like, but no, that's amazing. Take breaks. And I know there's this question that probably follows on, is saying that how can we ensure that the next generation of African leaders doesn't inherit the burnout culture of the global north? I don't know who wants to take that, but I know Dr. Kofi mentioned the phone. I think the phone is a killer these days for everybody. It's hard to put this phone down because our business, our life, everything is on. And we see children growing up, young people, everything is on the phone now. How do we ensure that the next generation of African leaders does not inherit the burnout culture of global
I'll be
north?
happy to chip in very quickly, and I'm sure
Yes,
we'll hear from
please.
Jane because we haven't heard from Jane. What I would say that, yes, the next generation of African leaders, what we must watch as Africans is we must not lose our sense of community. The West have lost their sense of community. They're very individualistic culture. I have a number of friends. I have actually a very good friend in the UK, who's a Caucasian lady, and she lives alone. She basically has no family, like close to zero family, zero. And yet what we do have in Africa, and what I hear from our friends all over the world, from Australia to the US and Scandinavia and everything, they would always celebrate Africans for having a sense of community. God forbid, when you lose a loved one, you are amazed at how many people come around you. That spirit of Ubuntu, I am because you are. instead of that culture of everyone for himself, God for us all. So we must not lose the sense of community that we have in Africa, because in Africa, the mental health issues are not as terrible as elsewhere. We do have mental health issues, but hey, here, you know, you always have someone to be there. You always have someone to talk to. You cannot be bored forever. I mean, there is always something to laugh about, always a neighbor to cross and sit down and talk for 3 hours. There are always so many people who don't have much to do to talk to. So that's a blessing in disguise.
No, that's very true. The culture that we have back home is amazing. There's always something to laugh about. So no, that's I know you said we haven't heard from Jane, but I'm going to move on to the next question because I know we can dwell on just this burnout with nonstop. I know many professionals, we focus on earning money, but we ignore protecting it. Why is financial protection part of wellness? How do we make it part of wellness? I know in your presentation, you mentioned many people, even when we talk about insurance, they think, oh, do you want me to die? That's the first thing everybody thinks about. So we don't put those protections. So this is for Jane. Why is financial protection part of wellness? How is it part of wellness? You're on mute, Jane. Let me unmute you. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I would say, thanks for the question. Great question right there. I would say that, first of all, we all know that when there's a financial crisis, we just get stressed out. And it affects us emotionally, it affects us at work. I mean, you don't have to have someone asking what's wrong with you, but you yourself know that, I mean, based on whatever challenges you're facing, these things could occur. And this is where insurance comes in. Because again, insurance cushions you against some of these expenses that, again, which are unforeseen. For us insurers, we indemnify you from accidents, like I said before in my presentation. If you're in a crisis, if you have a dialysis, if you have any sickness or disease, you know that if you have that insurance coverage, you're not going to be considering the expense of going to the hospital. You're rather going to think about your health, but not the amounts of money you're spending. Because of course, when it comes to any illness, we have modern technology whereby any illness or any sickness can be cured. But the question is, do you have the financial stability to support such medical visits? Do you have the financial ability to support, I mean, an outbreak of a fire? Most people would say that, why do I need to get a home insurance? I mean, I have a security man, I have dogs, I have cameras, I have everything to protect me. But who knows what could happen? You know, sometimes in Ghana here, now we're entering the raining season, and then you'll be driving on the roads, and then you see a flood. Unfortunately, you think that, oh, I'm using an SUV, and then you drive into the flood or you drive into the pool of water thinking that your car is protected. And then as you're driving a few kilometers, then your car starts jerking. Then you're wondering, what's happening to my vehicle? And then the question is, yes, you thought your car was a powerful machine, but you know that machines can break down. So of course, that incident of your car going through that pool of water, which of course isn't your fault. I mean, it's a major road. You can't say that you're going to take a shovel to shovel all the water or take a bucket, but you have to go through it. You can't say that because of rain, you're not going to go to work. So these vehicles that you drive on the road, if these issues happen, of course, insurance has some sort of limits or some sort of exposure in terms of the purchase of some of these endorsements on your policy, whereby when you find yourself in such crisis, you know that you can count on your insurance to pay for that. You can count on your insurance to take care of your educational policies. You can count on insurance to cover your funeral expenses. You know, now in Ghana here, funeral has become like a luxury. Or should I say it's more like a party of celebrating the deceased. And these things don't come cheap. So when you purchase some of these products, at an early stage, not knowing when it would happen, you know that now there are policies that are there that can cater for mortuary costs. There are policies that are there that can cater for hiring of a coffin or a vehicle, transportation. Someone could get ill, they'll travel to the US or to the UK, and then something could happen. And then, of course, you have to bring the body down. Some of these things could be covered through your travel insurance. And I can say a lot of products that, of course, when you have these things, I always say that see insurance as an investment. See insurance as a little piece of amount of money you're paying to a company, knowing that whatever risk that could occur, trust me, even if you do a normal brain check of how much you spent on insurance, no amount of money you pay in 10, 20 years is going to cover the cost of a $1 million property that you own in Ghana or in any part of the country you find yourself. So for me, I would always say that to have that peace of mind, knowing that I can pay a small percentage of money to get a huge amount of money, not to your benefit, but to know that you have that peace of mind to, go about your life and not be distracted and be worried about, the expenses that could occur.
No, thank you. That's so key. I think the key here is the peace of mind, which
Yes.
many of us, we don't pray that the worst happens. But like you said, it's a security, it's an investment. It's a small portion of money that we are paying just for our well-being. I'll share the story of a gentleman that I know. The mom passed away. We did the funeral, and within a week of the funeral, the mother-in-law also passed away, and he was crying. And then he said, Essie, I'm not crying because of the mother-in-law that has passed away, but I've not finished paying for my mom's funeral. We are just finishing that one off, and this has happened. And I know this is coming on my head. And I believe that, like what Jane is saying, if probably he had put the right policies or insurance in place, I'm sure he may not have been crying.
Yes.
As much as he was. So I believe that's what you're trying to say.
To piggyback a little bit on this question as well, and that is exactly what I had in mind, is that is exactly what you're paying for, that peace of mind. And I want to say that is directly linked to also you not stressing, right? When you have that peace of mind, you reduce your stress, and your overall well-being is all part of that peace of mind. So
absolutely,
I 1000% agree.
Wow. No, thank you. Someone is saying that I'm actually taking notes. Please do take notes. Thank you for all those that are joining in. Okay, someone is asking a question here. Let me see. What did you? Okay, I think this one is for you, Jane. Let me just put it up here. So someone is saying that with insurance, especially in Ghana here, sometimes the challenge is during the redemption period. The insurance company can stress and frustrate you. Is that true? Is this painting a picture?
Okay, so again, I am an insurance broker, so I'll be biased towards engaging a broker. In Ghana, most of the times, most people like to buy insurance direct. Again, it's like going to a bank and then they tell you, oh, deposit this amount of money. You don't have a choice. I mean, whatever they say, you're just going to buy into it and agree. But whenever you have a broker, the job of the broker is more like a lawyer. So in this case,
so what do you say? The job of the broker is a what?
The job of your broker is more like having a lawyer who speaks.
Oh, a lawyer. Okay.
Yes. And so if you face challenges like that, perhaps you don't even understand the kind of risk you're even paying for. You have not been well educated. You're not asking the right questions. But then when you have someone who's more like your guardian saying that, okay, I need a motor insurance, I need to buy a house insurance, I just went to buy a property, they're asking my mortgage and all that. So the expert advice that a broker would give you or guide you through your claim processes. Perhaps you go and buy, perhaps you have an accident and they'll tell you, oh, bring your car, your driver's license, bring your repair estimates. And you probably forgot that your driver's license was expired. And the job of the broker is now going to check to see that all these material facts that you're sharing with the insurance company are the right things. Because then again, even though the insurance company is going to be on your side, they're not going to be happy to be paying huge sums of money without scrutinizing and looking at the technical aspects of the claim. So this is where customers then become very, agitated about the whole process. Oh, why are you asking me for driver's license? Oh, why? Meanwhile, you didn't read the document. Secondly, you didn't decide to hire a broker to assist to read that document. And now you're being asked all these tons of questions, and then you're like, okay, no, this is not the right time to do that. But again, when you're paying the premium, did you make sure that the insurance company properly took you through the policy wording? Did you ask that in times of a claim, what is the procedure? But you don't, most of the times, people wait for things to happen and then they now want to have answers. But when things happen that way, I'm sorry to say, in the professional world, no one is going to buy into that. They're just going to do their job, just like you would have done if someone came to your office to purchase something. So I would say that in circumstances like this, always try and seek a second advice. Always try and get a broker. Or if you don't understand anything, before you even share the document, because once you share an official email, once you share a WhatsApp message, it is a binding agreement saying that you have accepted your faults. And so whatever action that will be taken against you, I mean, unless you want to deal it in the courtroom, I mean, I'll just say that hire me as your insurance broker and then all these things won't happen.
So this is Jane selling herself here. Please, if you want her contact, please contact. And she is an amazing insurance broker. I know Jane will insure you from your hair strand to your very toe.
Yeah.
And she will
So
make sure that even though I'm based in the UK here, sometimes when I have insurance and I let her read through for me. And she will ask me all the questions that, like she said, I don't think about it. Are you adequately insured for your property, for this, for that? These are questions that we don't think about because the the tiny lines, those things, the terms and conditions, they're too much. I don't have time to read it. And many of us, we don't read it. So that's the
yeah.
job of a broker. So I hope this has answered your question, Selo. You need to hire a broker, and you can hire Jane today.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay. Okay. Let me give. I know we haven't had. Have we heard from Dr. Douglas? Let me just ask you questions. I know questions are coming in. I'll keep. There's more on insurance. Okay. Whilst we're on insurance, let me just put it up there. Okay. Can everyone have insurance or only the rich? Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. Can a student afford an insurance? Just a thought because of the packages. Jane, is insurance just for the rich? You are on mute, please. Oh, Jane is on mute. Jane, you're mute.
Yes. Sorry, the question
Okay.
again.
So the question is, can everyone have insurance or only the rich? Can a student afford an insurance? Just a thought because of the packages. That's the question that someone has posted.
Okay, so again, it's based on the kind of insurance cover you're getting. Of course, if you're buying a car, no one is going to, unlike in Ghana here, if you purchase a car or you own a car or your parents gave you a car, again, you know that of course you're hiding under the umbrella of your parents' insurance to have the vehicle. But for young professionals or adults, I would say that it would be best to focus on having a life insurance cover because Like I said in my presentation, the earlier you purchase these products now, the cheaper it is, because the older you grow, it means that your risk is higher. So talking to your insurance company that, okay, I want to get a life insurance for my mom, for my dad, for myself. I mean, most people would rather think about insuring their parents and forget about themselves, knowing that someday they're also going to grow, someday they're going to have kids, and they're going to have people that are going to be depending on them. So insurance is not for the rich, neither is it for the poor. It's just for that peace of mind, knowing that I am sacrificing a little amount of my money just to create that peace of mind that if something should happen to me, I can have that kind of financial support from my insurance company. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. I'm sure it's very clear. So it's good. It's good to take the insurance early. And I know when I was a student, when I was at uni, I used to pay insurance for £6 a month. And then I cancelled it. And now I'm paying over £50 a month. So it makes sense what you're saying. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Maybe if I had kept it, I would have been paying £6 a month.
And then
or
probably
up to
after
£10. Who knows?
20 years, you could have asked for a cashback. So
You are right. I've lived out.
most life policies after 3, 5 years, 10 years, you can always go back to the company to ask for a certain quantum of the investments or the premiums you've been paying monthly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Okay. No more on. Okay. So he said, well noted. Thank you. So I believe that answers the question then. But let me come to Dr. Douglas. I know, how can leaders balance performance expectations with empathy and well-being? How can leaders balance performance expectations with empathy and well-being? So you can answer it from any angle that you want.
Thank you, Essie. Thank you. And thank you, Jane, as well. That's very nice. And I used to work in insurance, and I understand that very much. A lot of us are afraid of taking insurance because the next minute you are thinking you're going to die. So why am I taking insurance? Yeah, but it's very important that people have insurance. Yeah. Back to your question, I think I'll answer in this way. I think if you set clear expectations while understanding human limits, high performance is sustained not by pressure, but by trust, support, and psychological safety. What about that? Does it answer your question?
So we need to set clear expectations.
And you also have to understand human limits, right? You can't just say to me that you are a machine. I remember when I was in the army, we trained one day sometime in Germany. East Germany is a very, very cold country. And I was very young, and with my 60 kilogram heavy weight behind me, and then holding my rifle and all those things, and then walking and running and all those things. We had worked the whole day. I think from morning till about 7 o'clock. We walked 40 miles in and 40 miles out. So that means 80 miles that day. And then we came back to the barracks. We were staying in the field under our point. Some were in the trenches and all that. But what happened, we took out our ponchos and our sleeping bags. So you put your tent and you sleep under. But unfortunately for me, when we came back, we were so tired that I just crashed under my poncho and also my sleeping bag without taking off anything, my uniform, and even the rifle. I put it by my side. But before I realized, within 5 hours, I had been soaked with water. And I slept. Actually, apparently they said I slept in water for five hours. So imagine the coldness in that area. So I realized that in this world, you have limits as a human being. Even though you may be that very strong and carry all kinds of weights and do all kinds of acrobatics and all those things, you should also be aware that you have human limits as well for your body. So high performance is sustained not by pressure, but by trust, support, and psychological safety. I'll answer it that way. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have to be human, whether as leaders to your employees, be human to yourself as a leader. Know that there are limits to yourself. Be empathetic to yourself. Thank you. Okay, I know, Dr. Kofi, there's a question I want to ask you. And when we started, I told you that I've been a part of his institution. Thank you. Amazing. I did a personal MBA course with him. Oh, it was, if you want to know more information, just contact me. How to join Pali. It's amazing. The network that you get is, I think you get connected to different people in different countries. That institution is connected to about 45 different countries, I believe. But anyway, the question is, why should professionals invest in continuous learning, like a personal MBA?
Well, thank you very much for asking. Thank you so much. Very, very important question. Many reasons why professionals and non-professionals and everyone should invest in continuous learning. It's first because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You know, you are only limited by what you know, and you're operating in the field of what you know, but you have no idea what you don't know. And so you must continuously push the limit of discovering new things, new knowledge. And secondly, the question that was asked before, which Dr. Douglas brilliantly answered, the reason is you need to continuously develop and learn is that, yes, if you want to perform very highly, you don't always need to work very hard. You need to work smart. You have to move away from just working hard to working smart. How do you work smart? You work smart by finding new innovative ways of working, using technology, maybe AI and all the other things, and new ways of doing things. That is why you must continuously be in a space where you are learning. It's also important because there's this phenomenon there's this phenomenon that just slipped my mind, but it's a very interesting phenomenon. It's the phenomenon where the people who learn more and the people who know more tend to be humble, and the people who know less tend to be more arrogant. The smarter or cocky, the smarter people become, or the more knowledgeable people become, the more humble and modest and effective they are. And typically, empty barrels make the most noise. That is why you must continuously put yourself in the space where you are critically adding value to yourself. The other reason is also that knowledge is expiring much faster than it used to. So years ago, when you learned something, it was still effective for maybe 10 years, 20 years. And today, knowledge is being replaced at the fastest speed in the world. In other words, what you know yesterday, or even industries where you are an expert yesterday, have been completely wiped out. Industries have been completely wiped out. I was involved with some younger people recently, and younger people, when they are at a university or even lower, they are thinking about what industry pays the most money, what course should I take so that I can get a job. I'm like, hey, the areas that there are jobs today, by the time you finish school, those industries are no longer existing. All right. So it's important that you learn to become very versatile. You learn to become incredibly versatile, build a six-pack brain, and learning expands your capacity. Because throughout history, what makes people thrive is what we call adaptability, your ability to adapt to different situations. How will you be able to adapt when you have broadened your knowledge, broadened your capacity, and then built, what we call a six-pack brain? Lastly, it's continuously learning makes you the sort of person who has a lot more ingredients to make a soup. Let me conclude on that. What do I mean by that? So let's say there are two people. One of them let's say there are two chefs, two cooks. Okay. One of them, okay, yeah. Now I'm going to make Madam AC a cook, and then myself, because I'm a terrible cook. I'm the most terrible cook, except for a few people. So Madam Macy is the expert. That me and Madam Macy, we are going to have a competition. Okay, we all know that clearly she's the expert, and we know that I'm not a great cook at all. Okay, now you give AC 1 tomato, a bowl, and water to make a soup, and then you give me, who is not a great cook, you give me tomato, water, pepper, some meat, oil, you give me, spices, you give me like 20 ingredients, and then you give AC 1. Okay, who is going to win this competition? Is it the best cook with only 1 ingredient, or is the terrible cook with a lot of ingredients? Who do you think is going to make the best soup? So at the end of the day, it's not just about being an expert. It's about the kind of knowledge, information, and the wealth of if you like, context, knowledge that you have around you that determines where you're going to go. So you can claim to be an expert like she is, but if you haven't continuously acquired multiplicities of knowledge and intelligences, you will be very limited in life, no matter how expert you claim to be. That is why everyone must continuously put themselves in the place where they are learning. And fortunately for what we do at Pali, we're tremendously humbled to see great leaders, very successful leaders, people who have been in the leadership field for many years, people in their 60s, 70s, all kinds of titles, all kinds of degrees, been to Harvard, been to Cambridge, and yet they are still back in the same place, still learning, because they discovered that these are the truths of life. So I hope this helps a bit.
Absolutely. No, that's amazing, Dr. Kofi. So we heard knowledge expands our capacity. And if you want to be humble, increase your knowledge. That is an interesting one. That is the empty barrels are the ones that make the most noise. And it's true, because we need to make up for the emptiness. So we must make more noise. But yes, okay, no, thank you. But let me just see if there are any questions. I know, okay, someone is contributing and saying that your net, what does it say? Deborah is saying, no, it's, okay, this one is saying that our network is our net worth. That's very true. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, let me just move on. This question, I need to ask that one. We need a routine, Claudia. So I'm coming to you. For busy professionals with demanding schedules, I know you mentioned your husband, or demanding careers. What simple 3 steps routine can you recommend? Just simple 3 routine steps can.
Yes. I like this question because it really does not have to be complex. It's like you said, simple. And one is hydration. I think a lot of people dismiss water, and it is extremely important. And one thing I have started doing as well is adding electrolytes to my water. Some people have a hard time drinking water because it's tasteless, right? So when you add some electrolytes, it gives a little bit of flavor to it. Now, electrolytes, some people think it's expensive. If another thing you can do is basically add salt into your water, and that also adds electrolytes and hydration to the water. So that's one simple thing. And what I like to recommend is carry your flask, whatever you have in hand, wherever you go. Even when I'm home, I always have it with me, because I find that when I don't have it, I'm going about my day, and then it's 3 p.m. and I've not drunk any water, right? But when I have this, I know that, if I have at least 3 or 2.5 of these, then I'm good. And one thing I notice is when I don't drink water, I'm feeling tired. So that also is something to look out for. The next thing is movement. Again, it does not have to be anything complex. Even if you just have 5 minutes in your day where you can do some cardio or lift weights or anything like that. And you can spread it out. Let's say you do 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, 5 minutes at night, right? You do some sort of movements. And it could be different for everyone. It could be stretches, it could be jumping jacks, it could be, again, lifting weights, that sort of thing. And then the third thing is meal planning. I think if you really want to get into the habit of, eating more healthy, making better choices when it comes to eating, you do have to do that meal planning. And it doesn't have to be an extensive meal planning. It really just, making sure that, okay, you know what, I'm going to focus and, have salad, make myself some salmon or whatever. Make sure you have those things in your fridge. And other things as reminders. I think I go back to what Dr. Kofi mentioned earlier, is that reducing screen time, especially at nighttime, because that can really, again, these are not necessarily part of the 3 steps, just kind of added reminders. Tidy spaces. It's kind of backed up by science that when you have a clean, clear space, it helps to just refocus your day, right? Where it's not scattered. Your space is scattered, your brain is scattered. And then being consistent. Definitely. Consider not buying things that are not good for you. Like chips or sodas or sweet drinks, sweet bread, things like that maybe that's like your to go. Maybe consider not buying them, having them accessible to you, so that you choose more, apple or carrots or the good things.
That's an interesting one. So your space is scattered, your brain is scattered. So we need a clean space to work in. That's a good one too. And I can believe that if you are in a cluttered space, definitely it doesn't help with your thinking. So thank you for that, Claudia. I don't know if anybody wants to add, if you have any routine that you do that you want to add in, why not? But I'm learning a lot. We need to hydrate, we need to move. And the last one is we need to plan the meal. That is the hard one. If you don't plan, you just eat anything. So yeah, okay. So thank you for that. And okay, but how can professionals balance ambition with personal well-being, Dr. Kofi? I know we are all ambitious. How can we balance ambition with our personal well-being?
I'm sorry, did you want me to chip in or?
Oh, no, I'm asking you. Yes, it's you.
Okay, sure.
No,
okay, sure.
I'm asking that. How can professionals balance ambition with personal well-being?
Great question. Yes, please. Great question. I hope we also address a question in the chat room, which I think is very fundamental to what we're discussing today. Well, first of all, I prefer the word vision to ambition. Vision to ambition. I would rather be a visionary than a person with an ambition. Ambition tends to come from self. Ambition tends to come from self. Vision is rooted in purpose. To be successful, you must have your PVC. PVC is like a pipe. You must have your PVC. What does PVC mean? Purpose, vision, and career. So your career must be derived from your vision, and your vision must be derived from your purpose. So PVC must be aligned. If you mix it up, you're going to mess up. So first is a vision. A vision which comes out of your purpose. Everyone must, the biggest question every human being must find out, the biggest question you must pursue, the biggest quest of every living being, every living human being is, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What problem was I born to solve? If you don't ask that question now, you're going to ask that question when you are 82, 79, when you are too close to the grave and you're unable to address that. That is the question you must pursue. And then when you discover that, you must try and throw everything behind it. And so basically purpose. And then once you discover your purpose, then you decide your vision out of that. And once you decide your vision, then your vision determines the kind of career path that you want to take. Now, how do you balance that vision with your personal well-being? It's a struggle, but it's something you have to work harder at that. Once you have a vision, mission, you must have, accountability partners. You must balance that with self-care. Self-care is very important, and also importantly, you must have time for reflection. Time to get away and reflect. And it is said that genius ideas always comes during times of rest. Let me give an example. So, for instance, I'm being vulnerable, but for instance, for me, like a poly idea came. I've always been working too busy, too crazy, and once in a while I take a break. I remember it was one of those breaks. I was on a break. I was away in South Africa. On my first day, I was very tired and worn out. On my second day, I was getting there. And by the third day, it was in the middle of the night when I was rested. And suddenly I got that idea. Okay. So some of the finest ideas that people have had historically, including the guy, who said, Eureka, Eureka, I found it. He was trying to solve a mathematical equation for a very long time. He was bored and tired. He decided to jump into the bath. And so he was sitting in the bath, taking a bath, relaxing and everything. And suddenly they found him running in the streets, naked. He had forgotten himself because suddenly in the bath, the answer came right in the bath. He ran on the street, Eureka, Eureka, Eureka. And then they're like, what's wrong with you? That he discovered that he wasn't ready to run back into the bathroom. In other words, when you get out of your routine, regularly and get into nature, take a walk, maybe sit in a bath, whatever works for you, whatever you can afford. When you do that, you get all of those brilliant ideas. Like I was away from my typical environment, sleep, and then suddenly I got those ideas. So those are some of the ways I believe, we can keep that balance, between our vision in life and the sort of demands that comes on us.
No, that's amazing. So genius ideas come in times of rest. We should have times of reflection and self-care. And definitely we should find our purpose and vision. Thank you so much.
And by the way, very quickly, there's a lot of science in that. There are two parts of the brain. There's the part of the brain that is working. There's the part that is working, actively answering, solving the problems we are facing every day. And there's the part of the brain at the back called the genius lounge. There's the executive lounge where you're working from, thinking, making decisions. There's the genius lounge. It's at the back. The genius lounge cannot be heard or seen because the executive lounge is always busy. So if you want genius ideas, you must find a way to turn down the executive lounge, which is working every day, so that the genius lounge can kick in with a new idea. So hopefully that also adds to it.
Wow. I'll be resting a lot these days. I have to rest so that my genius lounge, if you call it, can kick in. That's amazing. Thank you so much. But off of the back of that question, I'll ask Dr. Douglas, many professionals also achieve success, but they feel unfulfilled. Achieving success, but you feel unfulfilled. Why does purpose matter in leadership? So bringing it back, and this is just coming off of what Dr. Kofi said, in balancing your vision with your personal well-being.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Kofi. That is very, very great. I was just giving you a thumbs up. I don't know whether you saw me doing it several times, maybe even 1,000 times. But vision, purpose is very important. And sorry, Osei, can you repeat the question again?
So why many professionals experience or achieve success, but they feel unfulfilled? Why does purpose matter in leadership?
Purpose matters very, very important. It's a very important ingredient of leadership because without purpose, you have no grounds. If you don't have purpose, you will not have influence. And without influence, you have nothing to hold on as a leader. So I believe that just like we are doing professional wellness reset, as Dr. Kofi said, there are times that he takes time out to rest. So now I've got a professional wellness reset, building sustainable work-life system, 2026. It's not just for this year. I believe it should be something that should be inculcated in us from now. Everyone who wants to work and work effectively. I think there's a time to rest, and also there's a time to kick your brain into working for you. As Dr. Kofi said, if you don't engage your executive lunch, no, what's that bit you mentioned, Doctor?
The genius
The
one.
genius lunch.
The genius lunch.
Genius.
If you don't engage, you'll never be in first class. You never fly first class. Yeah, seriously, because that's where the brain begin to reset and give you all kinds of ideas that can actually buy islands and buy nations. And I believe that in Africa, one of the things that we were not doing before, and I see that we are doing it now, most countries now. Before we had become over dependent on the way we were learning. We were being given the what do you call it, the notes and then the books, like chew and pour, and that's it. Nothing was engaging us to start thinking about the reason why we are doing it or why we're even learning it. And recently, last year, I wrote a book called The Emerging New Political African Leader. That's been emerging. And I believe that it is time for us as people, whether not just of color, but as human beings, to start thinking of researching ourselves for the next generation. Otherwise, we'll break down and we will not be able to achieve the purpose for which I believe we were created to live on this earth. I don't know whether that answers the question.
So yeah, I mean, I know you've touched on the fact that we do things without knowing why we do it, and I believe that's because we don't have a purpose, really. The only reason why you can do something without knowing, without any understanding, is if you don't know your purpose, then you just do anything that comes to you, isn't it? So no, amazing. I know, Claudia, were you going to add something to it? Did I hear someone? No. Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Okay. But what role does character and integrity play in sustainable leadership?
Wow. Can I answer that? And then
yes, you can. What role does character and integrity play in sustainable leadership, since we are talking about building sustainable work-life system?
Yeah. And I will take you back to what it means to be a leader and also what character actually entails. Titles are granted, as we know, by organizations or societies or schools or wherever. But character is built through values and discipline. A genuine leader who doesn't have these things is already a failure. As a genuine leader, you must have integrity, humility, accountability, and consistency. Consistency can also have a bearing to persistency. And I believe that all these great leaders we've read about, like Nelson Mandela, I refer to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first Ghanaian president, or Ghana president, the first Ghana president of the Republic of Ghana. The first president of the Republic of Ghana. All these great leaders like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, who else? America, who else? Franklin Roosevelt, and who else?
Many of them.
People, John Kenyatta, all those guys who have come and gone. If we read about them and study how they maneuver things, integrity was one thing that stood out. Consistency was one thing that stood out. Accountability, humility, and maybe sometimes not so humble, but because of the time they lived. But generally, as a leader, these things, when you demonstrate them, it helps you to develop and become a true leader for others to learn from you as well, I would say. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. So character is very important. And it's not just showing that character today. You have to have that consistency throughout to ensure that it becomes sustainable. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we need to be disciplined. We need to be humble. We need to be consistent, persistent with our character integrity, key to being a sustainable leader. No, thank you so much. I'm just going to ask a few general questions. Okay. Okay, I have a question here. What is, let me see. In a question. Okay, I'll just put it up here, and any panelist can take it. It says that in a culture that glorifies hyper work, how do we redefine success without sacrificing our health and family? In a culture that glorifies hyper work, how do we redefine success without sacrificing our health and wealth? And anyone can just take this question. In a culture that glorifies hyperwork. And whilst our panelists think about it, today you are here, we are saying that how do we build a sustainable work life this 2026? This is not just a webinar. You've joined in today. We have amazing experts here that are focusing on the key pillars in our lives, which is wellness, which is financial protection, leadership, integrity, self-development, and we've spoken about so many gems that has the experts have really taught us today. The 3-step routine that we can incorporate into our daily lives just to help us. And I believe someone said they are taking notes. So I believe you are going to really take it and make sure that this 2026, you are resetting your life, you are redesigning your life, and being very intentional with the steps that you take. So I hope this has been very helpful to you in resetting your professional work-life balance. But the question is, in a culture that glorifies hyperwork, how do we redefine success without sacrificing our health and family? I'm sure we've answered it in different
I think
various ways.
I'll chip in
Yes.
briefly. It's a great question. It's a phenomenal question. There is a saying. There's a very fantastic saying that if your success looks good to others but terrible to you, then it's not success. You know, there are many times where everybody is clapping for you because of the car you're driving. Everybody is clapping for you because of your position. Everybody is clapping, but you go home every day and you cry. You go home every day, you can't sleep at night. You have to be on pills. Your success is looking good for everybody, but not for you. That cannot be success. And that is the current situation of a number of people because they are not living from a place of purpose. They are doing things that gives them material results, but not purpose. And the other thing is even the United Nations has redefined what we call health. At first, years ago, health used to be, when you are physically well. But now health has gone beyond just being physically well. And even the United Nations include mental health. They also include spiritual health. Now, when we talk about health, healthcare now also captures the spiritual part of the human being. I'm not talking about a religion. I'm talking about even the United Nations definition of health now begins to capture, spiritual health. And so true health is comprehensive. It includes finances. It includes mental health. It includes living purposefully. It includes your physical well-being and so on. So if your success looks beautiful for others, but you go home at night because you have a broken home, because the home has not been taken care of, then how do we call that success? So that's a question for us to think about.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to and piggyback to what Dr. Kofi just said, and you mentioned it earlier too, is finding that balance, right? Whilst yes, you're working hard to build, your businesses and stuff like that, is finding a balance to take time for, your spouse and your kids, if that's you have other people, or if you're not married, don't have kids, your community. I think Pastor Kofi, Dr. Kofi touched on that as well. Engaging in your community and doing other things to step away from, work and such. So finding that balance is important.
No, thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you both. Yeah, that's an interesting analogy from both of you. Your success looks good to everybody, but not to you. You're crying at night. So maybe that's something that everybody can pause, think about it. If that is you, I believe it is not too late. You can find your purpose. Go back to the drawing book. What is your purpose? Why did you start? Why are you doing what you're doing? What are you called for? I believe all these questions will help us to align ourselves again. So thank you. I believe we are beginning to round off very soon. So I'll just be asking the key questions that takeaways that I believe our audience can be taking. And thank you, audience. You've been amazing, staying with us throughout. So I'm just thinking, what is the question to what one mindset shift will change someone's career and life trajectory? Just one mindset shift that can change someone's career and life trajectory. I believe this question will help somebody that is watching. Mindset is very key. What is that one mindset shift that we believe that it can change, and it can answer it in a way that will align with balancing wellness with our professional lives. So any key nuggets that we can leave with our audience? Any takers? Or maybe I can ask it in this way. What does a balanced professional?
Can I answer that question? Okay, should I start it off? I'd rather answer it this way. When leaders communicate purpose effectively, people feel that their work contributes to something larger than themselves. This creates intrinsic motivation, loyalty, and passion. Modern leadership thinkers such as Simon Sinek emphasizes that leaders start work with why. Leadership is purpose that converted to employees and also into believers and also into teams. But Dr. Kofi mentioned that at Pali, one of the things they do is to develop people to know who they are, and so they are inspired to pursue other things. As you also mentioned that there are side jobs, side business that people do because we get money from all kinds of places in terms of the multiplicity of you being a human being, isn't it? And Jane also mentioned that insurance is key for us because it gives us peace of mind. All this together, and of course, Claudia also mentioned about the wellness. And I think all these coming together, we must start to think and reset, really put a reset and ask ourselves that are we really, and as Dr. Kofi referred to, are we really pursuing only one side of our being, as in the physical or the soul or spiritual? Are we also concentrating on other things like the spiritual and the soulish being of ourselves? And I believe that this event has been put up to get people to start thinking of their own mindset. What kind of mindset do you carry today? And what kind of mindset will you carry tomorrow? What kind of mindset have you inherited from yesterday? All these things are things that will help us as we start thinking of the day after tomorrow or tomorrow. What are we thinking of the legacy we want to leave on this earth Are we thinking of making people believe that it's just about physical, or it's just about the soul, or just about the spiritual? It's all three, I believe. And I think when we start thinking about this and start making inroads into making sure that we are taking the right steps, our research will really become whole, and the wellness will be really defined, well defined, and so would our professionalism. Thank you.
Thank you. So we
Thank you,
should have
Madam.
that legacy mindset. Yes,
Maybe
please.
just add one to it. What I will say, one thing that can shift the mindset is what changed me. You know, if today was the last day of your life, what would you do differently? I ask myself that question every single day. I am driven and motivated by death. Death is what drives me. It motivates me because any day could be your last day. Death is the most certain of all the eventualities of life. Death has the 100% probability that's going to happen, and we've had an expert in Madame Claude telling us about that, why we need to take insurance. The point is that anyone can go at any time, so it's important to keep that in mind. When you think a lot about death, you will be wise. My favorite verse from my second favorite verse from the Bible is a verse called Ecclesiastes 7:4, and it says, "A wise person always thinks about death, but a fool thinks about having a good time." So when I think about death, or when you start thinking about death, no matter how old you are, it gives you wisdom. But I think we would do injustice if I don't take just one last minute to address the question that says, Africa has been learning from the West and have access to knowledge worldwide. Why are we still here? So just 30 seconds to answer that question. Number one, part of our problem is that we are learning from the West. We shouldn't just be learning from the West. First of all, your teacher must be somebody who wants you to be better than them. Otherwise, be very careful what they are teaching you. The African education curriculum is very colonized. The African education curriculum is a sort of curriculum that doesn't empower the African. It makes the African always look up to the West. When we talk about the successful people in the world, it's always Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. It's always those people who don't look like you. In academia, it is what we call academic trauma. If you are teaching children and you always put a role model who doesn't look like them, that child eventually becomes traumatized because they know they can never become that. We don't teach Africans our African role models. We don't remind Africans about our great history. It is lacking in our education curriculum. So part of the problem is the kind of educational curriculum we have. Secondly, the educational curriculum has to be practicalized. Thirdly, African governments invest very little in education, in quality education, in research, and then in funding ideas. We must pour funds into ideas. And so you go to our universities, they invent things, but nobody gives them millions of dollars or millions of whatever for them to spend to make those ideas scalable. Now, and so those are the issues that we have in our education system. Just copying from the West won't transform us. We must learn from our own history. We must strengthen our languages. We must learn a bit from the Chinese, who have not thrown their Chinese culture away, but they picked from the West and then invented and added a lot more to it. So those will be my final comments. I think I've spoken enough, so I won't speak again. I'll leave it for my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kofi. That's absolutely amazing. And thank you for picking that question for me as well. Almost would have missed it. But yes, thank you for all the questions. I know there was the last question because of time. I'm just going to put that one up here. Danielle has put a question here. She said, as a student balancing studies and work, what is the one daily habit you'd recommend I build first to protect my wellness and stay consistent? So this is coming from a student perspective. Any recommendation for a student?
I'll take this question.
Thank you.
For me, I would say that again, whenever you wake up, the first question you should ask yourself is, how am I feeling today? How, how am I going to make the best out of the day? When you feel like you need to take a break, take that break. When you try and put together your tasks for the day, and you know that of course you're exhausted and you cannot go the extra mile to do things. Sometimes you just need to just cut yourself off from the phone, from your books, and just allow yourself to reset and then go back. If it even means taking a power nap for 2 hours and then going back to steady, why not? You should do it. But don't just force yourself meeting deadlines. Yes, it's important to meet deadlines. Yes, it's important to steady. Yes, it's important to do the things you're being taxed to do, but your health matters a lot. And so always do the checks and make sure that those checks are not just red lights you ignore, but they're things that you would consider and try and, you know, be hard on yourself sometimes to take that break. Yeah.
So be hard on yourself to take breaks. I know as students we can stay. I know my son always says that after a certain time or hours of sitting to study, mommy, there's nothing entering. And that's what he says to his younger brothers. You are sitting there studying, but there's nothing going in. Just go and sleep. And that sometimes
I
when I
think
hear that, it's hard.
it
So Claudia,
happens to
if you
all
want
of
to
us.
say,
It's not just the students, right? I think even as adults in our regular life, you might be doing something and you just know that it's just not going in.
it's
So
not.
it's time to take a break. It's time to take a break. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, I know we have few. Okay, Danielle says thank you. So I believe that has answered her question for her. That is a good one. And I know someone is asking, when are we doing this again with the same panel? Thank you. Don't worry. That means that we love every one of you. Dr. Kofi Osei Kusi of Pan African Leadership, Dr. Douglas Adjepong, our founder for GTPA, and Mrs. Claudia Banning. Amazing. Thank you for all the wellness nuggets and the experiences that you have shared, and our ultimate insurance broker that is going to insure our life and make sure that we are not just chasing money, but we are protecting it, protecting ourselves, protecting our properties, protecting everything. And remember to hire her. Don't ask the questions. Make sure you pay for the service for a broker. So if you want to contact any of these amazing experts, please, you can contact GTPA and we will do well. I know I mentioned Dr. Kofi has an institution called Pali, and there are so many courses that he offers, and you can join it from any part of the world. It's amazing network. It's an amazing courses. And yes, GTPA, look out for it. We will definitely have another. We are always having seminars. But thank you, panel. Thank you, audience. We do appreciate your time. So many nuggets, but it's exactly 9 o'clock. I thought we will finish before, but we've actually been able to go. And there were so many questions I didn't even ask. But thank you. Thank you so much. And I believe this is the point that we end. Thank you
Thank
all.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you for having
Bye,
us.
everyone. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.